This might look like Greece, but it's not. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and somehow this city has a full-scale replica of one of the most famous buildings of the ancient world. Why is it here? What's inside? And how did this American Parthenon end up more complete than the one in Athens? Stick around, the story behind it is way more epic than you'd think. The Nashville Parthenon sits right here in Centennial Park, just west of downtown. It's an exact replica of the Parthenon in Athens, right down to the columns, the sculptures, and the size. Today this is regarded as a big building. 100 years ago, this would be considered massive. It was built in 97, that's 1897, for their Centennial Exposition. Oh, thunder and lightning, nice. This is all to scale, 1-to-1 of what you find in Greece. The Tennessee Centennial Exposition was a giant World's Fair celebrating the state's 100th birthday. Back then, the building was only meant to last a few months, but the locals loved it so much the city decided to make it permanent. Today, it's the only full-scale Parthenon in the world and a piece of history that most people have never heard of. In 1897, Nashville was booming, and it wanted to show off. With a population of around 150,000 at the time, Nashville was a growing southern city with big aspirations. The Centennial Exposition covered more than 200 acres of what's now Centennial Park. There were massive buildings dedicated to agriculture, education, and technology. Even a separate women's building run by women, which was unheard of at the time. People came from all over the country to see electric lights. Remember, this was over 125 years ago. Moving sidewalks and exhibits that looked toward the future. But one building stood out, the Parthenon, a symbol of Nashville's identity as the Athens of the South. It was supposed to represent classical beauty, art, and learning, all the things the city wanted to be known for. Today, Nashville has grown to nearly 700,000 people, but this piece of the past still stands. This whole area was their exposition ground. That's where the Parthenon got built in the background, and all these gardens around here were all part of it. It had a bunch of buildings that were around, and including a Cuban one, and I'm also on the hunt for Taylor Swift bench. That is in this park as well. Back then, the Parthenon was made out of plaster, wood, and brick, meant to just last long enough for the fair. But the locals fell in love with it, and it became a point of pride, and a tourist magnet. So I'm really hoping this is not the lineup to get in. Combine that with the cost of demolition, the Parthenon lived on way past its intended lifespan. However, after 20 years, the weather had taken a toll on the temporary structure. So by the 1920s, the city decided to rebuild it, using concrete, piece by piece over several years, on the same foundation as the original. The exterior was completed in 1925 and fully finished in 1931, and has stood there ever since, which makes this building almost 100 years old. It's one of the few remaining traces of the original Exposition, and it's still telling a story today. Everything about this building is designed to match the original in Athens. The Doric columns, they don't have bases. That's a classic feature of ancient Greek architecture. You see the slight bulge in the middle of each column? That's called antithesis, and it tricks your eyes into thinking they're straight. The pediments, those big triangular sections at the front and back, are filled with recreated sculptures from the 5th century BC. They tell stories from Greek mythology, like the birth of Athena and her battle with Poseidon for the city of Athens. And get this, all of those carvings were made using plaster casts from the British Museum, taken from the originals in Greece. This is quite an impressive sight when you walk in. Okay, time to go inside, and things get even more incredible here. This is Athena Parthenos, a 42-foot tall statue of the goddess of wisdom and war. Athena is covered in real gold leaf, over 8 pounds of it. And for context, she's holding Nike, the goddess of victory, in her hand. Nike is 6 feet high. Ancient battle scenes are carved into her 15-foot shield, and it's also painted on the backside, which can be viewed from the other side of the room. The original statue in Athens was lost over 1,500 years ago, but here she's been brought back to life by Nashville artist Alan LeQuire, who recreated the sculpture in 1990 using historical records and ancient descriptions. And she's massive, the largest indoor statue in the Western Hemisphere. The main bronze doors are just as impressive as Athena. They are 24 feet high, over 6 feet wide, and weigh an incredible 15,000 pounds, and they are perfectly balanced. But that's not what you see when you first get inside. The entrance takes you beneath the temple to an art museum, a quieter, more modern space that contrasts with the grandeur upstairs. It starts with the history of both the Centennial Fair and the Parthenon, then moves on to the gallery, which features over 60 paintings by 19th and 20th century American artists, along with rotating exhibits throughout the year. The Nashville Parthenon isn't just a replica, it's a reminder of a time when cities built big, bold things to celebrate knowledge and creativity. It tells the story of a city that wanted to link its future with wisdom of the past, and somehow, it's still doing that today. Tens of thousands of people walk through these columns every year. Most of them never realize they're stepping into a forgotten World's Fair. But once you see it, it sticks with you. One more tidbit. The 1-mile walking loop outside the Parthenon features a hidden bench that was installed in 2023 in hopes that a famous singer would pop by and enjoy a moment of solitude. If you're ever in Nashville, don't miss the Parthenon. It's strange, it's inspiring, and it's one of those places that make you see history a little differently. Thanks for watching. If you like the story, hit the like button, subscribe, and check out my other travel videos. We've got a lot more places to explore.